is the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast.
It's time for another edition of the Celebrity Afterlife Report, the only show on the internet that gives you the up-to-the-minute gossip about all your favorite deceased celebs. I'm your host, the Celebrity Medium, and I never fail to be amazed at what the famous folks in the next world get themselves up to. As soon as I get the info, I pass it on to you here in the podcast. I just hope you enjoy listening to it as much as I enjoy reporting it. Country singer Merle Haggard had a reputation as a no-nonsense, hard-drinking, tell-it-like-it-is guy when he was on the earthly plane. Haggard once started a concert in Madison Square Garden by announcing that he wasn't going to talk in between songs because he hated New York City and its citizens and wanted to get off stage as soon as possible. According to my sources, transitioning to the next world hasn't mellowed him or changed his opinion about the Big Apple one bit. Haggard transitioned to his new existence last week on his 79th birthday and was welcomed by a large crowd of enthusiastic fans. Unofficial greeter to the stars James Brown was on hand as well. Now, Brown made a little speech in honor of Merle's arrival, although I'm told he mispronounced his last name as Haggard. Now, Merle laughed that off, but the laugh stopped when a fan stepped up to shake his hand. "Where you from, son?" asked Haggard. "Brooklyn," the man said, smiling at him. "I hate that effing town. We're done here," Haggard said, releasing the man's hand and walking away from him. I'm told that the fan looked shaken and confused by the unpleasant encounter. In a strange coda to the story, over the weekend, Merle appeared on stage at Tupac Shakur's restaurant, Pac's Place. To the delight of the crowd, Shakur joined him and did a freestyle rap in the middle of Haggard's biggest hit, Okie from Muskogee. Last week I reported that Tammy Faye Bakker, former Earthly Plane televangelist and now former fiancé of her former TV talk show host Merv Griffin, announced that she was going to have a very special episode of her new show soon. Many in the afterlife, as well as me, were anxiously waiting to see if it was the tell-all about Merv's recent misdeeds that we all hoped it would be. Unfortunately, am I overselling this? Unfortunately, according to my sources, that is not what the show turned out to be. Rather than an expose of what Merv's been up to recently, what Tammy gave her audience was a bunch of stories about her days as a TV preacher, and not even juicy ones. Now, while the audience, which was the largest she's gotten since she started her new solo Gabfest, may have felt let down, there might have been method to her madness. Word from behind the scenes is that Tammy led everyone to think that she was going to spill the beans on Merv in order to scare him into giving her something. Now that tactic has worked for her once already, as that's how she got her current show. So whether her hinting that she would let everyone know about what Griffin and baseball legend turned radio shock jock Babe Ruth cooked up recently has gotten Merv to do something new for her isn't known yet, but I have the feeling we won't have to wait long to find out. Speaking of scorned women threatening to reveal secrets about their former paramours, Nancy Reagan may be ready to tell everyone about what skeletons are in her earthly plane husband Ronnie's closet. If the Gipper hasn't been embarrassed enough recently by his erstwhile girlfriend Marilyn Monroe spurning him for JFK, to whom she is now engaged, word is that the missus is so angry about him shacking up with the sex symbol that she's ready to tell all to the Next World tabloids. Nancy Reagan was at Ron's side for decades, all through his Hollywood and political careers, so many in the afterlife are excitedly speculating about what scandals she may reveal. There is no official monetary system in the next world, but people have set up mock bookmaking operations so that folks can bet on what she will spill. Currently betting on Reagan having been involved in the Kennedy assassination will get you 1,000 to 1 odds. The evidence that artist Jackson Pollock was involved in turning on the sprinkler system in iVironment during David Bowie's recent concert is mounting. Besides the maintenance man who says that he saw someone fitting Pollock's description walking away from the sprinkler control room shortly after Bowie was electrocuted on stage, there are now at least 3 other people who say that they saw Pollock going into or coming out of the backstage area around the time of the incident. In addition to that, there's an anonymous man who describes himself as a friend of the artist who claims that Pollock bragged to him that he was, in fact, the culprit. Now, given that there is no formal governmental structure in the afterlife, Pollock isn't facing any potential jail time, and I'm unclear as to what kind of punishment he could receive and from whom, even if it turns out he did cause the electrocution. There's a lot that's still murky about this story, and I'm hoping that I'll get some clarification between now and the next report. And with that, this edition of the report is finito. Please come back next week when I'll have more up-to-the-minute gossip about all your favorite celebs. If you like this show, and I hope you do, please help spread the word that it is available for free on iTunes. I am the Celebrity Medium. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast. To ask a question about your favorite deceased celebrity, call 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-369-3732.